Hi, my name is Despot. My students call me Mr. Mitchell, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on colored pencils. So let's get started. Recently, our school district has went virtual due to the pandemic, and I have given a lesson on a drawing lesson, and it's up to the students to choose various media to finish that lesson the way they see fit. I'll be giving tutorials on how to use each of those media, and so here we go. For colored pencil, just keep in mind the way that I use them, and again, I want to reiterate I use colored pencils the same way a printer would use their colors. I start from light and I go to dark. Printers have CMYK, that is cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. And it goes in phases. It'll lay down the yellow first, and then it'll lay down the magenta, then it'll lay down the cyan, and then it'll go to black. I look at the photograph that I chose, and in this case, Mr. Mahomes, I chose yellows, oranges, and I chose an ochre. It's whatever colors I see that are dominant to represent to represent his skin are the colors that I chose. And then I start laying them down. Notice that when I begin, I use my grip on the pencil starts at the very top. And then all throughout the process, you'll notice that I gradually start working my way down. I do this because when you start out, you want to just lay the colors down in literally in the order that you chose them, and then you will start eventually using those colors a little bit harder to get shapes, because you're not just coloring over your drawing. You're recording shapes as you go, and with those colors, and then you're blending them with white to get hard edges or soft edges. And a hard edge is when you're using a color and you create a line, and you're literally leaving that line bold. Likewise, a soft edge is when you use that color, you create the line, and then you blend it down, with other colors or with white to make it softer, to where it's not as where it doesn't contrast as much. And then again, my hand goes further down, towards the tip, to start recording shapes, and in those shapes, I'll press harder to get a better value of the color that I want. And then when I lay other colors over them, they'll eventually start forming in the shadows. I tend to use black last, and I use it sparingly. If I'm blending the colors, or if I'm applying the right values and shapes, then in the right pressure, then the colors that I'm laying on they'll start to blend in themselves, and they'll create the shadows for me. Black is just kind of, in this case, it's just to kind of just give more of a contrast when I need it, because some things do stand out. Some artists, when they use colored pencils, they do tend to use local colors. I don't. I look at the world, the sun, its rays, it strikes the surfaces of objects, and those objects are either light or dark in nature. And light objects tend to reflect the sun's rays, and dark objects tend to absorb. And our eyes are recording the interaction that's happening with those rays. Okay, that's how we see color. So I record things. I don't just use local color. And again, this is the way that I do it. If you find a different way that works for you, by all means do it. Art is a process that it's a learning process. It's more about exploring. At least for me, I don't approach any artwork and try to just think about the result I'm getting. I have fun using the material. So as an artist to the core, you'll find me using materials that you wouldn't even imagine would, could be used, so to complete and to get a result that I want. um, to me, art is about the process. I enjoy the process. So if you enjoy the process, then you more than likely won't be discouraged, and you'll just keep trying new things, and thinking outside the box until you get the result that you achieve, or that you want to see achieved. The main reason for this tutorial was to show how to do skin tones, and how to blend the how to use the color pencils. But I also have another part on here where I'm doing metal, and you'll see that I start the same way, but when it comes to metal, you're using a lot of hard edges. That's, you don't, when you look at metal, you don't just look at it and it's like, oh, well, that's silver, or that's a metallic color. It is metallic in nature, but think about what metal does. It's a mirror. So it's going to literally, whatever's being projected onto it, there's going to be reflection, and those reflections are going to be hard, unless of course you have metal that is scarred, or that is softer. um the images are further away from the main object that's being projected onto it. They're going to be blurred. So you just kind of, you follow the same process, and then what you do is you're working in shapes. And once you get all those things recorded in there, then you use your white, and blend it all up. And after that, you'll use black to kind of add the contrast. Just think, when you're doing metal, initially start with all the soft edges that you see on the object first, and then work your way to the black. Okay. And sometimes you even have other colors in there that you could use for hard edges. Anyway, I hope this helps. And again, if you find that you're using these you find you're not getting results, it could be also that you're not using the right material. In this tutorial, I'm using regular color pencils because that's what most of my students, I know that's all they can, that they have at the time. Not necessarily the only thing that they can afford, but they just have it at the time. They have regular color pencils. Color pencils, they are literally ground pigment that are held together by a wax binding agent. Okay, a binding agent is something that holds a material together. So the pencils that I'm using here, they're your regular general bought pencils, and they don't have the wax. They don't have enough wax in them to where you can actually like blend like you would if you had, let's say, Prismacolor pencils. Prismacolor pencils, they're effective in the fact that that they have a good wax binding agent. So when you put something onto the substrate, the surface, whatever it is that you're drawing on or painting on, whatever, they have a good rate of blendability. So yeah, if you find that you're not getting results, you may want to try to use a different material. But start off small. Like use these color pencils, and deal with them. And if you like the process, then you invest the money into the more expensive quality brand pencils out there. It's again, to me, art is a process. It's all about the process. I love to explore. So if you approach it from that mindset, then you'll definitely get the results in time. You keep playing with the materials, and you'll get the results that you want to see in due time. So you just got to be patient. Until then, explore them. have fun, just you have time to just relax and play with a pencil. I mean, if we have time to play video games and be on the phone and deal with unnecessary drama from other people, and then you have time to just sit down and explore a simple object like a pencil. Okay, you'll find that it also could be quite rewarding, to learn something about yourself that maybe you have a talent. Anyway, that's all I have for this tutorial. And if you have any questions or concerns about what you're doing, then you have my email. Okay, just send me a shout, and I will always get back to you. Some of you guys even know my cell phone, and you text me and you ask me questions about something you're trying to do, and I've always been there to help. So nothing changes. So again, have fun, explore, stay hungry, and yeah, stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon.